Hey guys, this is Locke. In this video, I'm going to go over the weaponry trial number 3, the level 65 one that I just did. I was able to get 2 stars on it. I was not able to clear it in 15 rounds. It took me 16 rounds to do it. But I'm going to show you what I did. I'm going to show you the units that I used and the reason why I set up my units a very specific way. If you want to take a look quickly, you can see up here, these are the units that I used. At the top, I am level 45. At the end of this video, I will play this, the rerun of it so you can see what happened. But I'm going to talk about it first. I'm going to talk about a little bit about the trial and what is kind of needed. So one thing that this boss does is that he actually ramps up a buff. Every time you kill one of his spawns, those minions, every time you kill one of those, he gets a buff that increases his damage by 4%. And that's very, very quickly going to build up. So the first thing you need to do is to actually have some kind of dispel, like, some kind of buffer removal from the boss. And so I'm using 2 things for that. The first thing I'm using is this axe. I have it at level 3. At level 3, it removes 1 buff every 2 turns. I mean, it's not fantastic, but it'll have to do, right? If you're able to get this all the way up to 5 stars, it's even better because it dispels 2 buffs every turn. So that would be fantastic. But because I only have it at 3 star, I'm also using this turret. I hope that's how you say it, turret. Anyway, so this will dispel 2 of these buffs from an enemy, but it has to be within 2 tiles. Now, in the video, you can see where Magnus will be standing, and you have to stand right at that spot. If you don't stand at that spot, he will not be removing the buffs, because only in that spot will he be able to, or whoever you're using, will this turret effect take place. It has to be exactly in front of the boss's main squares, like 2 squares from that. There's only 1 spot in this boss's trial where that effect will take place. The 5 units I'm using, well, 2 of them are very easily accessible: Crimson Falcon and Angel. 2 others are not as accessible, but I feel like a lot of people pulled for them, which is Gloria and Cole. So I feel like a lot of people will be able to do that. The one that a lot of people will probably not have access to is Magnus. I pulled him yesterday. I was actually trying to go for the debut character. The debut, I don't know how you say it. And I ended up getting Magnus. So I decided to use him. I mean, he seems pretty powerful. I really like him. And the way that I'm using him right now is I'm using him to stack the attack down debuff on bosses, and he's a fantastic character for that, even at 1 star. But there are a few alternatives, and I'll talk about that. First, I'm going to talk about what I did, and then I'm going to talk about the alternatives. So with him, because I have him and I'm using Gloria, I didn't need to bring Gloria's buff as well, so that freed up a slot for me. I was instead able to bring Magnus and just use his, lead as aura. So he has this skill, the Cry of Victory, which whenever you defeat an enemy, or whenever you're using his other skill, Mountain Breaker, for all the units within 5 tiles, you put an attack down debuff on them. So you will see that in the very beginning I use him, and from that point on, throughout the entire fight, the boss has this debuff on them. Because I'm always using this skill, whenever the cooldown is ready, to keep applying this debuff on the boss, so that I am able to, my whole team is able to survive a little bit better because of that, right? And he also has this aura. Well, it's a trait really, but it decreases the attack and defense of all enemies within 3 tiles. So you are actually standing, 2 tiles from the boss because of the turret you're using. So this will always be an effect on this boss. You will have, as I said, I will also talk about alternatives, but this is really one of the main reasons I brought this guy, because of both these things that will help me to apply a consistent attack down debuff on the boss. Otherwise, there's no way I can survive all the attacks that the boss throws at me. And as I'm assuming a lot of people will probably not have access to Magnus, I'm hoping that a significant portion of the people that are watching does have access to Gloria. So one of the things that you can do instead of bringing Magnus, because you don't have Magnus, is use Gloria's other skill. So you have to use this skill. And this actually does not stack with Magnus's aura. So his trait aura that decreases the attack by 8%, that will be overwritten with this one if you bring both of them. So that's the reason why I didn't even take this, because I thought it was a really useful skill to have. But now that I have Magnus, and he does a bunch of other things, and I like her to have different things on her slots because she does so many more things. So if you don't have Magnus, you can actually bring Gloria and use this debuff on the boss to decrease the attack as well. And because this is only 2 tiles, you have to make sure that your Gloria is standing exactly where my Magnus stood, and you would probably also need to put the turret that I showed you, which is which one is it? The one that Magnus is having, this one. The Redemption of the Judgment, to dispel buffs from the boss. Otherwise, the attack is going to build up too high, and you're going to have a really tough kind of way of removing the buffs. Okay, so I find that I really need secret characters, especially Cole, to do this challenge. If you don't have Cole, I don't know how to do it, to be honest, because Cole is the only one that's able to go around and kill all the enemies very quickly, and as he gets multiple turns. Once he kills someone, he gets another turn to go and kill someone else. Along with that, I brought the pursuit. Hold on a second. Let me see what it's called. Is it? Yeah, this one. No, not this one. Sorry, I'm just taking a second to find it. It's the one that lets you act again. Is it this one? No. Where did it go? Damn. Is it a breaker one? I feel like I'm losing my... Oh, here it is. Okay. So this one, Pursuit Order. Pursuit Order. So I used it on him as well, to be able to take multiple turns and go. So you'll see that what I do with him, a lot of them actually have the Temptation of the Devil, so that because you're killing a lot of these spawns that the boss does, so it's very easy to get 10 stacks of it. I mean, this thing is at level 50, so I obviously don't have the upgraded effect, but even at one stack per kill of the enemy, you can still get 10 stacks pretty fast. So if you see, like, a lot of the team that I'm using has that where it could. Okay, so 2 of them have that. 2 of my team had that. Crimson Falcon. What I did with Crimson Falcon a lot of the time was to go and kill the enemies, like the other spawns here and there, right? Because you need to keep killing them, otherwise it's going to overwhelm you and you're going to be defeated pretty fast. So Crimson Falcon's main role was to go around the map and kill them, and I used the maneuver command to position him to be able to do that sometimes, because I definitely do not want to get overwhelmed by these ads. So that's why I used. That was the main purpose of Crimson Falcon, and I really need somebody that is very agile. He has move 5, jump 2, and I think that actually, and he also gains additional jump, which triples his jump power. In addition to that, he has his like, once you defeat somebody, you can actually, you don't need to defeat them. When you attack an enemy, you can move 3 squares, which actually helps them to get around. And I also found that the way the boss spawns these enemies have a very set path. Like, it spawns at exactly the same location. So if you even memorize where it goes, you can position them around much easier when you're doing it a few times later, once you memorize where they're supposed to go. And you will be able to get around with him to, wipe those out. So with him and Cole, I was able to keep, everyone else, all the other enemies, all the ads down. And Cole was a significant source of DPS, but I also relied on, Gloria and Magnus to help with the DPS capabilities as well. Now, with the aura, I mentioned that, if you don't have Magnus, you can bring Gloria, but Gloria doesn't have the attack down 2 debuff. She has the aura, but she doesn't have something like this. So I looked at a few other characters that you could bring instead of Magnus. I mean, they're not as good as Magnus for sure, but if you don't have Magnus, I mean, you have to bring them you have to do something, right? So there were a few characters that I found. One of them was Nightingale, which I thought was an interesting choice because part of this, like, as I mean, well, when you see it in the fight, my characters still do take quite a bit of damage. There are two AOE's here to watch out for, and my healer Angel sometimes does get overwhelmed, especially close to the end. So if you bring Nightingale, you actually are, I mean, you have another source of healing, but she also has this skill which inflicts attack down 2 for 2 turns, and it is on a range of 3 as well. So she has, her healing skills, and she has protection of light, which is very strong against bosses. You'll see that, yeah, if you're having trouble with this, if you bring characters that have protection of light against single target attacks, they're able to survive so much better. That's one of the reasons why I bring Angel for boss fights, by the way, because she's able to take those single target hits and survive very easily because of this protection of light skill. So anyway, I think that Nightingale is probably one of the better choices that you have if you don't have Magnus to bring the attack down to debuff. Another choice that I've used before in the past is where did she go? Abyss. Now I really like Abyss as well because she is able to apply those single target, those attribute debuffs. Um, she's able to apply 2 of them for 2 turns, and I find that very often she does get that attack down debuff on the bosses using this, but it's not exactly consistent. But you are able to spam it every turn. So you are able to kind of keep it almost 100% time uptime because you're able to keep spamming it. But unfortunately, for this fight, she doesn't bring anything else. Like, she is able to bring this and apply that debuff, but she's not able to contribute damage. And the problem with the ads is that the ads don't, they have like their reaction skill lets them take decreased damage from range attacks. So bringing, she's not going to even be helpful to take down the ads because she's not going to do much damage to them, unfortunately. So that's the reason why I was looking for somebody else. And I mean, when I was looking for it, Magnus came home yesterday, so I used Magnus. But if I didn't have Magnus, I would probably have tried to build Nightingale to do this instead. All right, so now Angel. So the way I set up Angel is to set up the M defense command because she did need to give magical defense to everybody. Otherwise, they can get killed by these AoEs. The boss does so much damage, right? So you want to have as much defense as possible for your team. And so this is, I brought her, and if you look at the videos, you will see that as much as possible, I try to put my team, within 2 squares of her, so they're always able to have the increased magical defense to be able to survive the boss's AoEs. I think that's really it. I think those are really some of the main points. I mean, after that, it's just a DPS race. You can look at the positioning that I did to see how I positioned my team to do it. But I think those were the main things. I mean, I did a lot of runs to figure out, okay, this is the setup that I should use, and these are the turrets, and so on and so on. There is one skill that the boss does that does the 170% attack towards your unit with the highest magical defense, and that would be my Gloria because of all the different buffs that she has. So whenever she throws down her flag, uh, she gets she gets some buff. Now where do I find it? This one, potential burst. So potential burst gives her additional 40 defense. So I always try to use that skill before the boss targets her with the AoE, not the AoE, but with the single target 170% skill. So it increases her defense. I give her this skill, and I try to make sure that she's always facing the front because this reduces damage significantly. 30% down is a huge, it's very, very good. So try to have the skill and try to always have your tank facing the front when the boss is going to attack you with that. And I also tried to have her next to my Angel to be able to benefit from the 30% defense, the magical defense. I did not use that skill, I used this skill. So this was my setup. And unfortunately, I did rely very heavily on Magnus to do this. And if I didn't have Magnus, I would have to figure out a different way and probably slightly differing positionings if I have to use Nightingale instead. But that's what I did. Maybe at some other point. I mean, I can only do it once a day, right? So I can't even try again with Nightingale today, right now, if I build it out again. But that's what I did. And now I'm going to show the video so you can see exactly, you know, how I did it, what positions I used. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. And yeah, maybe tomorrow I'll try to make one of the videos for the other two. I haven't beaten level 65 for the other two. I think I beat level 60 for Weaponry Trial 1 and 2, but I will see what I can do. But anyway, that's it for this video. Actually, that's not for this video. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna show this trial, a playthrough of it, and then that will be it for the video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below, and I'll do my best to get back to you. I'm gonna let this play, and I will see you at the end of the video.
くれよ。
指示を願います。共に戦おう。
礼を言う。
命令して
わしに続け。
すぐに
礼を言う。叩き潰してくれよ。
勝利はすぐそこです。まだ終わりではない。
ターゲット
感謝します。
まだまだこれからよ。
指示を願います。
ターゲット死ぬすぐに
礼を言う。叩き潰してくれよ。
指示を願います。